What is going on, everybody? My name is Josh.
And my name is Taylor.
We are the WDW Couple, and this is the second time that we've started this podcast today.
So this is like, it's honestly not even funny yet because...
It's frustrating.
All right, so this is what happened. I set a timer on my phone every time we record the podcast because the camera shuts off after 30 minutes. And we have to just restart the recording before it shuts off, and then we can keep going. Well, the timer went off at 28 minutes because that's what I set it for. We checked the audio on GarageBand for the podcast, and it did not record properly because the loop thing was on, so it was only recording for 8 seconds at a time, over and over and over again. So none of the audio recorded. And then Josh went up and checked the camera. He's like, well, let's just do the audio from the camera, and then we'll record the rest of it.
Which would have been terrible, but...
It would have been terrible audio, but it would have worked, except the camera wasn't recording.
It would have saved 30 minutes.
Oh, gosh.
Perfect. Anyways, let's move on to
Actually, let's double check and make sure this is recording first.
Yeah, it's going. It's good.
Okay.
Each and every week, this podcast is brought to you by Gold Gal Getaways. No matter the trip, whether you have small kids, big kids, or no kids at all, we have agents who can help you plan your next vacation, either here to Florida or anywhere around the world. You can submit a quote in the show notes, and an agent will get back to you with a quote or for more information. If you would also like, you can head on over to www.goldgalgetaways.com.
That you can. And speaking of Gold Gal Getaways, we are going on 2 group cruises coming up. So the next one is on the Disney Fantasy. It's our first Disney group cruise. It is from August 22nd to the 25th, 2020, out of Port Canaveral. We will have one stop at Castaway Cay because this is a shorter cruise, but it is a perfect way to get your feet wet into cruising or into Disney Cruise Line itself, or if you just need a little vacation.
That's very true.
So there is a form you can fill out in the show notes, or you can email events@goldgalgetaways.com and just make sure that you tell them you want to go on the Disney Fantasy group cruise with the WDW Couple. We also have another Royal Caribbean group cruise coming up. This is going to be our 3rd group cruise. It will be in July 2021 on a 7-night Alaskan cruise. It's out of Seattle, Washington, and it's on the Ovation of the Seas. You can email events@goldgalgetaways.com. Let them know you want to go on the Royal Caribbean Alaskan group cruise with the WDW Couple. I'm really excited because I can't wait to go to Alaska.
Sounds like it'll be fun.
It will be fun. I can't wait.
This is also brought to you by JTR Media. This is our little video business side hustle. If you're looking to capture any magical moments such as weddings, engagements, vacations, or anything else you can imagine, like photo sessions, we're doing a Harry Potter one in Universal in the fall. And then we've got some weddings that are coming up.
Got some senior pictures coming up.
Yeah. We've been getting a bunch of requests recently.
Got some family pictures, family videos.
Recently have just been for photos. So
yeah,
if you're interested, you can submit a quote in the show notes below, or head to www.jtrmedia.org. Or you can email me at info@jtrmedia.org. Mm-hmm. And as always, one of the best ways to help support us is through patreon.com. You can go to www.patreon.com/the WDW Couple. We've actually got a bunch of postcards that we need to get sent out here.
We need to get the rest of the addresses there.
Yes, we need some more addresses out there, peeps. So I'm going to have to message you again and say, where do you live?
If we asked you for your address, please tell us.
Yes.
All right, so just real quick here for like news type stuff. If you are a Busch Gardens or SeaWorld Pass member, make sure to check your email or check your Pass member account because they have changed around and like upgraded passes. So because of all this craziness that's been going on, they want people to be able to come back to their parks, so they upgraded some things. You're going to be able to have more animal encounters with certain passes. If they upgraded you, you may be able to experience more parks. You may be able to bring a friend more than one time. You may get the photo key that comes with it. Not all the annual passes include that, so you may be able to have that now. Free preferred parking. So just make sure you check on that because some better benefits.
For sure.
There's not really anything going on with Universal right now. They have not announced anything. So if they have not announced it, we are not going to speculate about it. And with Disney, what they have announced is that Shanghai Disneyland will be reopening in phases starting on May 11th. They will have limited capacity and safety measures in place, of course. We have a post about that on our website, the things that they have announced so far. Also, Disney World did announce the considerations that they have discussed for when they reopen the parks. However, they have not announced when the parks are reopening. So if you have heard anything about when the parks are reopening and blah, 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 Disney has not announced that, so it is not true. It's all speculation. Nothing is ever official until the company itself announces it. So just make sure you know that.
Cool. Well, moving on to this week's breakdown, we're talking all about our favorite Walt Disney World resort lobbies. Oh, I almost said lounges again.
Whenever we recorded this first time, Josh said lounges instead of lobbies. But yeah, I feel like there's a difference between having a favorite resort and having a favorite resort lobby. Because there are some resorts that I overall enjoy more, but there are some lobbies that I overall enjoy more than the full resort itself.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, resort, you're taking into consideration everything. The lobby is really just kind of more of...
the lobby.
You know, where you're going to be hanging out at. Well, not necessarily where you're hanging out at, but like, yeah, kind of like, you know, maybe where you're hanging out at every so often, where you're... kind of welcomed into the hotel. And
yes, and that's what I think about it the most, is this is when you are entering the resort, this is how you are welcomed there. This is your first impression. And that is what I think about whenever I'm thinking about a resort. We do have a value resort on here as well. I don't know if Josh looked through this, which he probably didn't. We have some deluxe resorts. We have moderate resorts, just for a little bit of variety. But because they did such a good job with these different resorts that in their lobbies, I feel very welcomed whenever I go there.
Of course.
So these are not in any particular order, but the first one we are going to talk about is Port Orleans Riverside. This is a moderate resort at Walt Disney World, and it is recreating the down-home appeal of the Louisiana Bayou. That's kind of like the theming of the resort. And just make sure you know that we are talking about the Riverside and not the French Quarter side, because there is a difference. They are two separate resorts, technically.
And they not just, this has been several years now, but they did get a renovation, which when they did that renovation, they included Princess and the Frog to the rooms. So if you're wondering what is that Louisiana Bayou appeal or theming, that's kind of what they went for.
Mm-hmm. This is right on the Sassagoula River. So the main lobby area is the Sassagoula Steam Company. That's like the building. And for me, it has a really big sense of nostalgia because we used to stay here all the time whenever I was little. And like on our first trips to Disney World, it was Dixie Landings then, and that was where we stayed. So I just think of it from sort of a child's perspective, but whenever I still walk in there, I get like those same feelings of whenever I first came to Disney World.
It's just very nostalgic.
Yeah, it is. Like Josh and I were saying, you know, whenever you first walk into a lobby, you feel like that first impression and that like welcoming home, basically. And that's how I feel whenever I walk into Port Orleans Riverside. And this lobby is just so spread out that, and it's a cool design because it's different. It's not just like a typical square or rectangle. It's like it's different shaped. So whenever you first walk in, you walk into like the little, it's actually kind of like a round room. It's got a high ceiling. It's got like glass on the ceiling. There's a nice little seating area there. I remember when I was little, I used to get my caricature done over in the corner. And so it's not like you walk into the resort and it's like, oh, you're here, bam, check in now. Like, it's kind of like whenever you walk into a house and the house has like a little entranceway. This is like a
foyer.
Yeah, this is like a big entrance to the lobby, which when I think of the lobby part, that's like where you actually are checking in, which is kind of over to the right-hand side. So it's basically two separate rooms, and they're big rooms. These are big rooms.
Yeah, it's very large, and I think that's what kind of makes it nice is that it's got a lot of space. It's very well spread out. You don't really feel too clustered in there. I mean, there's definitely days where it gets busy. You know, there's definitely Disney has a set schedule that's, well, not a set schedule, but they do have like a, what am I trying to say here? They've got a pattern of when people check in and mostly when people check out. When that pattern is being followed, it does get a little busy in there, but it's never too crazy, I don't think.
No, it's big enough that the people are kind of spread out in there.
Yeah. And it's actually been a while since we've stayed there. We stayed there back in 2014.
Yeah.
And I remember that was the first time that I had been there. When we stayed there in 2014, it was only for a couple nights.
Really? Mm-hmm. That was not the first time you were at that resort, though.
No. That wasn't the first time I was at the resort, but that was the first time we stayed there. So the very first time we were just there to eat at Boat Rights. I don't remember being there at all other than being at Boat Rights. But when we stayed there for that first time, I actually even remember almost feeling a little bit confused as to like where I was at, because you kind of walk into those doors like Taylor said, and then one way is where the check-in area is, and if you go the other way, you've got other things like the store or the lounge area. Maybe
you just felt confused because you came with us seasoned.
Probably.
Disney peeps.
That's probably very true.
I just have to mention this real quick. I remember Josh's first trip. He had maps, like every time we went to a park.
You say this every time like this gets brought up.
I can't help it.
Maps. Josh collected and keeps
because
his maps.
We all thought it was so funny because like none of us really have ever used maps, and Josh like grabbed these maps when we got to the resort, and we're like,
Disney
what?
Park maps are the most economical value that you can get for a souvenir. All right. Oh yeah.
Free souvenir. But they also, I mean,
it's included with my park admission.
You can use a map on your phone on the My Disney Experience app.
That wasn't around in 2009.
But it is now. Or
2010.
In your Disney lobbies, when you're checking in, if you do feel the need to get a map, they typically have them sitting right there on the check-in desk. So, segue.
Normally they do. What was that segue?
That was a segue back into the check-in desk.
Oh, okay.
Clearly you didn't get it.
No, I'm super tired.
But yeah, over in the check-in area, they also have a little like kids area where they can watch TV, and they used to have bean bags over there along with the little kids chairs that you can watch the TV. And then the arcade is over in that area. For some reason, we used to spend time in the arcade whenever I was younger. Maybe that was when we were checking in or something, but I remember that.
I don't know. I've never spent like really any time in the arcade.
I know, because there's so much other stuff to do.
Except for the one time that we played air hockey when we were doing the bar crawl.
Oh, yeah.
Over at Boardwalk. I mean, it's a nice lobby. It's a nice resort. There are a lot of other things that are in there. You've got Fulton's General Store, which is actually pretty decent size when you think of some of the newer places that have been built. The first thing that comes to my mind is Riviera. That store is extremely small. You get
the lobby's small.
The lobby is small in general, and I think that's because this is an older resort. All right, obviously this used to be Dixie Landings. They've now changed the name, so it's been around for a while. And when they first built it, I think they really wanted to have an appeal of like, look how big this place is, look how much room there is, look what you can do. And now when they're building the resorts, it's like we need more space for rooms because that's how we make more money. So now you go to like Riviera. Of course, my argument that I just made has just been defeated as I just realized one of the other resorts that are on here is brand new. But Riviera always just pops into my mind because the lobby is extremely small. There's almost no check-in desks. Everything is done basically on the iPads. And then you've got a tiny little store that has basically most things that you can find.
No, the Riviera store was mostly Riviera merchandise
just
and
Riviera
DVC
merch,
merchandise.
Right? But this one's nice. I mean, you can find...
Fulton's has everything.
Just about everything. I feel like one time we found... This might have been an Art Animation. Might have been at a different value resort, but I think we had found a gingerbread cookie house. The Anna one. The Elsa one. The Frozen one. I don't know. But you can find a lot of stuff. I mean, basically, if you forgot something in the park, you can find it in this. Probably find it in this general store. So,
Yes, definitely. Right next to Fulton's General Store is River's Roost, which is the bar and lounge area. We used to go to trivia there, but it is a great, yes, it's huge, but it's also a great place to hang out and lounge, and they have a lot of bar seating at the actual bar, and then plus tables, and then like couches and chairs.
I mean, they can fit a lot of people in there.
Yeah, and you can see Yeehaw Bob in there some nights of the week, which is always a good time. But there's a hallway that goes from the main lobby the whole way up to the food court, and I used to love walking down that. I don't know why, I just loved walking down that little hallway. I don't know if it's because of the way it looked and the pictures on the wall or what, but on your way to the food court from the main lobby, you will pass boat rides, which Josh briefly mentioned. That is their casual table service restaurant that they have there. They are known for their prime rib. It's one of the places on property that you can get prime rib. Josh doesn't like prime rib.
Nope.
Then you can also go down to the food court, and we actually used to love this food court. Not that we don't now. We just don't really have a reason to go there, but when we stayed there, we loved having the garlic knots at the food court. I don't think they're the same because years ago they ended up like kind of standardizing the menu and probably the food ordering or whatever between all of the different resorts. So like I remember when they made their pizza all the same at all the different resorts. So
then another nice thing about the lobby area is that not only are the buses picking up right there?
Yeah, it's like right outside the lobby pretty much.
I'm trying to remember where they're at because I don't remember.
You have to walk down the
buses.
sidewalk just a little bit.
I've taken the boats more, which is really nice because whenever you walk into the lobby, if you cut straight through the lobby, go right out the other side, basically the boat dock is right there. So you've got a really easy transportation from there to Disney Springs. You can make a connection or a transfer, and then you can get to Saratoga Springs or even Old Key West. So it's a pretty decent resort. The lobby area is pretty nice, and it's got some good transportation going for it.
Mm-hmm. It does. I like resorts that have more than one option for transportation. It's always nice because if you have a little extra time, you can take the boats, or if you don't feel like waiting for a bus and you're walking past the boat dock and there's the boat,
right?
Just get on it.
Yep. But I definitely would not have chosen this resort or this lobby just because it's I like the resort overall. It's a really nice resort overall, but lobby, I wouldn't have picked it. So Taylor picked it because of the nostalgia of staying there so many years.
I guess so.
So, all right. Well, we'll move into the next one, which is probably one of my favorites, is Wilderness Lodge. This is inspired by turn-of-the-century national park lodges. Disney's Wilderness Lodge celebrates American craftsmanship and honors the beauty of the untamed wilderness. So, if you've never been here before,
this is a deluxe resort.
This is a deluxe resort that has villas, DVC stuff.
Has cabins.
Has the cabins that are right out on the water, just like the Poly does. And it's a beautiful place. It's very rustic. And if you've never seen it, it looks very much like a log cabin. And the lobby area is it's huge. It's grand and miraculous. And I think it goes up like 6 or 7 stories. I don't know.
Pretty high.
It might not be that high, but it's pretty big.
It's a few flights of stairs to get up to the top.
Absolutely. And what's really nice about this too is that not only is this a really nice place just to go and hang out even during the summer or in the wintertime, but when the Christmas season is a really great time to go because they've got their huge tree in there. It's all decorated. They've got the whole place decorated with all kinds of just different things that are very rustic and wildernessy for stuff like that. So it's nice.
Yeah, they have the big fireplace in there too. It's like a stone fireplace, and it's huge. But they also have all the rocking chairs out in front of it, which I love to just sit in the rocking chairs, even though we're in Florida and it's like hot to sit in front of a fireplace. But it's just kind of that feeling of being in a log cabin in front of a fireplace.
Yeah.
But they also have some hidden areas where you can sit. And I probably shouldn't tell you about this, but just make sure you don't go to Wilderness Lodge the same time as us and take our seats because we want to sit there.
Yeah, our seats, like our names are on them or something.
Yeah. But if you go almost kind of like you're going to go to the bathrooms in the lobby that are back behind Whispering Canyon Cafe. There's stairs that go up, and it kind of looks like you shouldn't go up those stairs because there's a door there. But if you go up those stairs, you go across a little bridge and then up some more stairs, and you can go up there. There are some seating areas that overlook the lobby, and there's one of those seating areas does have a fireplace there, which is really nice to sit there and hang out. You can actually go up another level. There's like more stairs in a different area, and there's another seating area up there. They also have like their concierge, like club level, little dining area is up on one of those levels too.
So
off
at the
to
very
the
top,
side.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's like on the one of the sides. But I forget which level it's on. But if you walk up those stairs and go the whole way around to the front, I guess I'm thinking it's like the front, but I guess it's technically like the back of the lobby where you could like overlook the pool and kind of like the lake area. There are a couple spots where you can actually walk outside, and there are rocking chairs on balconies out there.
It's really nice.
A lot of people don't know about those, and there's actually a sign there that it like closes at dusk, so they don't want you out there when it's dark outside, but it's actually a really cool place to be able to go out and get some nice views outside.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is that this lobby has a little bridge in it. It's got a little flowing river, which you can actually follow all the way outside and leads down into their pool, which is pretty cool. I mean, it has a lot going for it. And again, it's huge. It's spaced out. It never, ever really feels crowded there. And I think one of the other things that's nice, too, is that when you first walk in, depending on when you walk in, it might sound like it's very loud in there because they've got Whispering Canyon Cafe, which is their casual sit-down restaurant. And there's a lot of shenanigans that go on in there. But you can still find some pretty quiet places to just relax and hang out. And it's actually surprising for as open as that lobby is. The sound, I feel like, doesn't carry that bad. So if you want to go and sit by that little bridge where the water's at, you can still go over there and sit and still feel kind of calm and relaxed.
I think you can still enjoy that lobby with Whispering Canyon Cafe being there because it's not like the whole entire time the restaurant is ruckus and racket. It's just occasionally. For sure.
The other thing, too, is the Wilderness Lodge Mercantile, which is another, I would say, decent-sized store. Again, this one, because it's DVC also, they've kind of combined. So some of the DVC resorts have their like stores split apart a little bit, whereas like they've got official merchandise and then they've got like some park merchandise and then they've got another store where it might just have food and some alcohol and different things like that. This is all combined together, and they've got some really unique Wilderness Lodge merch there as well. Now you can't find everything like you could probably over at.
They do have some park stuff in there, but not everything.
But not a lot. I think that didn't we try to get a magic band over there, and they were very limited on magic bands.
Yes,
right. Almost nothing.
They only had like 1 or 2 magic bands, and they actually had them behind the counter. Yeah, you had to ask for them. Yep. So I was able to get my magic band that day because I didn't have one, and we were going to Magic Kingdom. I also didn't have an annual pass card. It was a crazy day, but sometimes you can actually meet characters in the lobby. Yeah. So I remember one day there was like a really bad storm and my family was down here. And so they had to close the pool for the afternoon. And my family was just hanging out at the resort and they walked down to the lobby. They were probably going to the store or something. And there were a bunch of characters just hanging out in the lobby, meeting and greeting like no big deal. Yep. And I know there's been times around Christmas time, they'll have characters out. We met Chip and Dale one day, which was really cool. It was actually the day we ate at Storybook Dining. Yeah. Which is another restaurant that they have right off the lobby. It's actually Artist Point, Storybook Dining at Artist Point. It used to be just Artist Point, which we ate there on our honeymoon. And we actually never got the chance to eat there again. Nope. Until it was Storybook Dining, which I still really enjoyed. We could have,
but we just didn't.
Yeah, we could have.
So.
They also have a lounge. Well, if you don't know what Storybook Dining is, it's basically dining with Snow White, Grumpy, and Dopey, and you can also meet the Evil Queen. It's like story themed. It's cool. It's very unique.
It's basically Snow White themed.
Yeah, it is.
So,
then there's also Territory Lounge, which is like their little bar and lounge area, which is near Artist Point. It's almost has a similar entrance there.
Of course, they've got a quick service area. It's called Roaring Fork Quick Service.
It's kind of down the hallway.
It is quite a ways from the lobby. I was going to say lounge again. And from what I remember, the selection at Roaring Fork is not as extravagant. That's not the right word. But it's just, there's not as much variety, I feel like,
Yeah, there's
there.
just not a ton of options.
Compared to like some of the quick service areas. So, I mean, it's okay. I wouldn't we don't go into that lounge to really eat any of the food. It's like we go.
FYI, Josh keeps interchanging the words lobby and lounge.
Well, because I feel like you're going into the lobby to like lounge around, I guess.
Yeah, but it's a lobby.
There's a lot of unique things to see in there as well. They've got a pin person in there, Disney pin person every so often.
Like pin trading.
And then, I mean, like, just, it's unique and it's different. It's rustic. If you really enjoy that kind of stuff, you're going to love this resort. And again, it's a really nice place to hang out.
It's such a big lobby, and that feeling of wilderness is really there.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that Disney does just so great is the theming. And I know we say that all the time, but like it transfers from the parks and from the movies into their resorts and even just to the resort lobby. Like you go to some hotels to check in and it's just like you walk in, you check in, you go to your room. You don't go back and hang out in that lobby. Like that's just not really a thing. But at Disney resorts, sometimes you do hang out in the lobby.
Yep.
This one, after I put it on the list, I realized there's not a lot to do in the lobby area. But I just love this lobby for how grand it is and how, like, pretty it is.
Yeah. Well, this is the lobby that basically defeated my argument of newer lobbies.
With Riviera, yeah. So this is Grand Destino Tower. And this is actually at Coronado Springs. They moved the lobby from Coronado Springs over to Grand Destino Tower. So that is now the main lobby. And basically, Coronado Springs and Grand Destino Tower celebrates the unique blend of Spanish, Mexican, and Southwest American cultures. So hearing that actually makes more sense as to the menu of Toledo, which is at the top of the resort.
I mean, it's not Toledo? Just kidding.
But basically, when you just come up to the resort in general, it's a huge tower.
It's amazing.
And the carport that they have there is massive as well. And it's just like, wow, this has got to be great when I walk inside. And then when you walk in the doors, you are not disappointed. The colors and the theming is, all the decor is just like spot on.
I think the elevators alone here set this lobby apart from anything else because
I knew you were going to bring those
there's
up.
literally like you just do you even
Okay, so here's
how does it work again? Do you just tell it where you want to go?
So here's how the elevators
and it takes
work.
You there.
They have like 4 or 6 elevators. I can't remember for sure. And you actually press what floor number you want before you get on the elevator. So you don't select up or down. You just press the floor number basically on a little touch screen. And whenever an elevator is ready to take you to that floor, the doors open up, you get in the elevator, and it takes you right to that floor.
Well, it tells you what elevator too.
Yeah, it tells you what elevator to go to once it's like ready for you.
Were there buttons inside? Because I just thought about what if you pushed the wrong button? Like what if you selected the wrong floor by mistake? Now what do you do?
Well, then you shouldn't have got in that elevator.
I guess so. But it's a beautiful place. The lobby area, just like Taylor said, when you walk in, it's huge, it's massive. I think one of the really cool things is they've got a giant chandelier in there, right, hanging from the ceiling over the what I would call like the ground floor. Because when you walk in, you're kind of already on the second level.
Yeah, it's 2 levels.
And if you go downstairs, that first level, they've got basically what would be their cocktail lounge, but it's
the Barcelona lounge.
But it's huge. It's very big, can accommodate a lot of people.
Ooh, it's got those really big pillars in there.
It's a really nice place, and they've got a huge, I want to say, was it a picture of Walt?
Yes, it's Walt and Mickey. It's like a big painting, like a mural almost. It's awesome.
It's really, really nice.
Yeah, and I love the colors in the lobby. It's like a lot of like whites and golds, and there's like some oranges and browns in there. Like it's
even a little bit of reds, right?
Yeah, it's like reds and oranges, like intermixed in the patterns and all the different types of materials that they use to
Yeah.
make the lobby. So it's just, I don't know. I couldn't believe it when we walked in there for the very first time, which was actually on official opening day, because we went to eat at the restaurant Toledo upstairs, and I just couldn't believe how big it was and how
Right.
beautiful it was.
The other thing that's nice too is that during the day you can walk down into the Barcelona lounge area and just sit there and kind of people watch outside, because they've got just that whole back wall is just glass, so you can just see right out.
It's huge.
And it's just, again, it's a nice place to hang out.
Yeah, you can see right out back to the big lake they have back there. It's Lago Dorado, I believe is how you say it.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's a big lake that they have out back there that Coronado Springs basically surrounds. And Coronado and Destino Tower is right there on the lake.
Nice one.
But like I said, there's not a lot going on in the lobby. Basically just Barcelona Lounge. You can check in there. There's a lot of places to sit and relax. They have awesome elevators just in the resort itself. But I just love how it looks, and that's why I had to put it on here, because it's just so, it's grand
it's a
and
nice
miraculous.
place. It's a nice place. We really have not had that much time to hang out in there, and that's mostly because Disney just is not allowing people to just drive up there and hang out. Like, they're only letting people in. This may have changed, but for the most part, they were only letting people into Grand Destino if you had a reservation.
It was the same thing at Riviera, too.
Yeah, I mean,
I saw a lot of people getting turned around on the days that we went there and ate for breakfast and for dinner, 2 different days. And there were a lot of people in front of us that they made turn around because they did not have a reservation.
Normally, like, for the moderates, they don't really, like, the moderates and the values, most of the time it's just like, oh, I'm here to grab something to eat or shop around. And they're like, yeah, come on in. But now with that addition of Grand Destino, at a moderate resort, they will not let you, for the most part, unless you get like a really nice security person. So, but yeah.
There are other forms of transportation to get to these resorts, though, if you do want to check them out. So just keep that in mind. So if you're staying on property and you want to try and get there, if you have your own car, just don't drive your own car. Take a bus from a park, take a minivan, something else.
Yeah. I mean, you could still, well, no, I guess not. I was going to say, even if you're staying on property, they might let you park there, but nope, that's not the case. I forgot. Me and Mom tried to go there one time.
Buses are the easiest way.
Right.
Or if the resort you want to go to has a boat or monorail, boat, monorail, or bus is going to be your easiest way to get to a resort and not be questioned about why you're going there.
Yep. All right, well, we're going to move on to Grand Floridian.
It's actually Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa.
I was just reading off of what you put in
This is an outline.
Whatever. This is the Victorian elegance meets modern sophistication.
And this is another deluxe resort.
And this is another deluxe resort that you cannot just drive up to and park at. But it's very nice, marbled, grand, miraculous.
It definitely has the most going on for it out of all of the Disney lobbies.
This is probably the one place where I feel like it's not that relaxing for being at a deluxe value resort, or deluxe value.
Well, I didn't mean
resort.
a lot going on as in busy. I meant a lot going for it as in there's a lot to do.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, I still think that this is probably one of...
It has a lot of traffic.
For being what it is, a grand, or... Jeez, I can't even think. For being a deluxe villa resort, it's very busy. Especially when they've got the band playing downstairs now, because they've moved the band, plus people checking in and checking out. And even whenever it's Christmas time and you've got the gingerbread house there and you've got the tree up, I mean, it is a bustling, busy place.
Basically, the Grand Floridian lobby has become an attraction itself.
Absolutely. I mean, there are a lot of people... of the older generation, I will say, who I have witnessed on multiple occasions that are just lounging in a chair, relaxing, sleeping. They're just hanging out. They're just having a good time. I think one of the more calmer times is whenever the pianist is in there playing. That is a little bit more of a calming time. But it's just it's a really, really nice place, and it's huge. Again, it's very similar to Wilderness Lodge. Several stories is that lobby, and they've got a huge tree that they put in there for Christmas time, and the Christmas decorations are nice.
Yeah. So Josh already mentioned that they have the band in there sometimes. They have, and that's normally in the evenings. They have the pianist sometimes, which is also typically in the evenings. But they have a really cool elevator in there with like, I want to say it's like...
Oh, I totally forgot about that. It's kind of like Disney Cruise, right? No, I'm sorry.
I just mean the way the elevator looks, like with the white bars and everything like on the outside.
Never mind.
There's like hidden Mickeys in there.
I never take it, so I always take the stairs.
I like to take the elevator just because of the experience of
I guess I'm gonna have
the
to
way
go.
the elevator
I guess
looks
I'm gonna
like.
have to go experience it the next time.
I guess so. But they also have a really grand staircase over on the side near the elevator that I'm talking about. There are multiple elevators, but that's one of them. And yet they have the grand staircase that Josh always takes the stairs. But I love walking on those stairs because it just like, it makes you feel so elegant walking on those.
Well, there's usually some photos that are being taken from like brides and stuff like that. So
yeah, not all day long, but
no,
occasionally
not all day long. But
see
occasionally,
them on there.
you'll see them.
Yep, it's a perfect spot for that. But there is a lot of shopping that you can do at the Grand Floridian. They have their own basin store. It's Basin White. So if you don't know what basin is, that's basically like bath
It's all like
products.
bath products, like bath bombs and soaps and all kinds of things like that.
Hand scrubs and face scrubs and that sort of thing. And it smells so good in there. They also have a like upscale clothing store in there. They used to have two, one upstairs and one downstairs, but now they just have the one downstairs since they built the new lounge.
Yep.
They also have the Mickey Mouse Mercantile, which is upstairs, like right as you walk in from the monorail. And then their actual like Grand Floridian gift shop is Sandy Cove Gifts. That's where you can find the Grand Floridian and DVC merchandise in there. It's quite small, that store is, but that's where it's pretty much just that merchandise.
It's
and
extremely
they have some like
small.
food and snack stuff in there, I guess.
Yeah, it's a typical place where if you're looking for something like alcohol or chips or bread or medicine, all that kind of
That's
stuff
like
is going to be
other than
there.
the quick service restaurant, just like little stuff.
Yeah. That's not what I meant. That is what I meant, but not what I meant. You know what I mean?
Do you know what it means?
And this resort has a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff that's happening in there. They've also got Bippy Boppy Boutique. If you don't know what that is, that's where they get all the kids, the little girls, all dressed up as princesses. You've got Tea Room. You've got two signature restaurants, Citrico's and Victoria & Albert's.
I don't even think Victoria & Albert's is considered signature. That's like its own level.
It's a 5-star diamond, whatever.
It's 5 diamond.
5 diamond, sure. They've got 1900 Park Fair, which is their character dining experience, or buffet, I guess. Grand Floridian Cafe, and
that's
then
a casual sit down.
Casual sit down. They
table
still also have a quick service, which I've only been in
But
one
it's
time.
not off of the lobby.
No,
you have
it
to
is-
walk
it is-
clear
you do have
outside
to walk-
around to
you have
go
to
get
walk
to the
away
quick
from it.
service.
And then Enchanted Rose, which is a huge lobby, a huge lounge, additional lounge for what they
Like
used to
I
have.
said, Josh keeps using lobby and lounge interchangeably. They are not the same thing.
If you have not been to at least experience the Enchanted Rose, it is now Beauty and the Beast themed. It used to be Meisner's Lounge. It was very small. I mean, again, this is probably one of the busiest lobbies.
Just because there's so much to do and
there's just
a
so
lot
much.
going on in there.
I mean, if you go in, you want to go in and just experience the lobby. You go in, if it's Christmas time, get a picture by the tree, check out the gingerbread house. You can go upstairs then and grab a drink from the Enchanted Rose. You can go wash your hands in basin. If the band's out, you can sit downstairs and listen to the band.
And Josh says wash your hands in basin because they have like hand scrubs that you can try out in there. And it just feels so
I feel
nice.
like 90% of basin's traffic
It's
just people coming in to wash their hands. They're like, I don't care about buying any of this. I just want to wash my hands with this scrub
No,
stuff.
they walk through and pretend they're going to buy something, so they smell every single one of the soaps.
This is very true.
Like they have like samples of the barred soap out and the bath bombs. And then people go wash their hands and then they leave.
I guarantee that the cast members in there that work basin, that's the only place they work. They know when somebody's coming in to buy something. And when somebody's coming in just to wash their hands. Guarantee it. So it's a nice place. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. Again, you don't have to be staying at any of these places to actually go experience them.
Yes, that's right.
we go to any of these resorts at any point in time, and we're almost never staying on property. Because we live just down the road.
So the only time we ever actually park at those resorts is if we have a dining reservation there. If we don't have a dining reservation and we want to go to that resort for one reason or another, we will just take a bus from a park, or we will take a monorail if we're going to a place like the Grand Floridian.
Yeah.
You can also take boats. So I said that already, but I'm just restating.
Yes, you did. That's okay.
Now we are going into a value resort. This is Art of Animation. This is by far the best lobby out of all the value resorts, I think.
Think so?
I think so. But you can stay and play in the fun-filled worlds of Finding Nemo, Cars, The Lion King, and The Little Mermaid. And by the name of the resort, Art of Animation, there is a lot of animation and artwork in this resort, which is what I love.
I think that's what really sets this lobby apart from it, especially from all the other value resorts, is just there is so much Disney IP in here of just like all the hand-drawn animation before it's been colored or even after it's been colored, all different kinds of stuff. So,
Yep. So whenever you first walk in, that is Animation Hall, which is the whole main lobby area, what we're talking about. And the desk is so colorful in the way it's lit up. Like, I remember whenever they first started advertising for this resort, I was like, I need to go here. Because I just loved the way it looked. It's like a rainbow that like goes down the hallway or the lobby, and it's just like you want to go there.
Yeah, it's really nice.
They have a lot of Disney concept art in there too, and if you look at some of the artwork, some of it is like renderings from like very first ideas of art, and then like some of them are like full drawn, colored in pieces of art. So it's just really cool to see all of the different styles and progressions of Disney movies basically that have come to life. And basically what's mostly in there is the Finding Nemo, Cars, Lion King, and Little Mermaid.
Right.
They also have a really cool chandelier in there.
I was going to bring that up because I kept feeling like there was something in there that had some of the characters on it, but I couldn't remember for sure because it's been a while since we've been there.
Yes, it's a chandelier made out of a bunch of pieces of Disney. I keep wanting to call them art, but it's like drawings, basically, of the different characters.
They're kind of like sketches, basically.
Yes, that's what they are. They're like sketches of characters from the movies and parts of the movies, which is really cool. I love that chandelier.
One thing that I really like about this resort, too, is the actual... Another thing that I really like about the lobby and the resort in general is their Landscape of Flavors quick service. It's a little bit different. It's not just your typical quick service food that they normally have, just like burgers and fries. They do have things that are a little bit more unique, a little bit more adventurous, but I think everybody's still probably willing to take part in those. And again, it's right, I mean, like basically you walk in, you do your check-in, and you hang a right?
A little bit to the right, I believe. It might actually be almost straightforward.
But you hang to the right, and you'll see it. It's right there, Landscape of Flavors. You go right in, and you can sit down, eat your food. The pool's right outside there. You can walk right out to the pool.
That's actually the biggest pool on property. I know it's not in the lobby, but...
And it also plays music underwater. I was going to say it plays water under music.
Oh my gosh.
But it's cool. And they've got an arcade just like all the other resorts as well. And it's would I say that this is a place I'm going to go hang out and relax in? Probably not. But what I would enjoy doing is just walking through and like looking at the sketch work.
Yes.
And all the art that's up on the walls. I mean, that is really being able to see kind of like early renderings of what maybe some characters were going to be like. So,
yep. They also have the ink and paint shop. That's their little store there. It's similar to all the stores at the other value resorts. They pretty much have everything you're going to want to find at the parks that's like new and popular for the moment. They do have some like themed merchandise to the resort. It seems like over the years they've gotten less and less merchandise for all of the resorts,
Right.
like specifically, which that's actually merchandise that I love to get. At Grand Californian, they had a whole big section of just Grand Californian merchandise, and I loved that, and we bought a bunch of that stuff because I feel like a lot of the resorts here, there's only like a couple little things that you can get for the resorts.
Yeah.
And I understand it's a value resort, but I wouldn't mind having some Art of Animation resort. I mean, we stayed there before. I would have bought that stuff. But yeah, I also love Landscape of Flavors, the quick service. It is probably one of the best.
It's not the best quick service of the resorts. It's one of the best.
What's the
it's
best
probably
quick
the best
service?
of the
Satuli
resorts.
Candy?
Of the resorts, it'd be the best.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. It's the best quick service in a resort. Even though it's at a value resort, it is like the best. It's awesome. But there's not really much else about Art of Animation because there's not a lot else in that lobby. It's just the fact, the way they made it and the time they took to like put in that.
Well, and I think if you compare it to the other value resorts,
Yes.
those are just not as Disney-centric, I don't think. I mean, they've got some Disney stuff in there.
They are.
Right? But it's not as, like, I think of, like, Pop Century, which is connected to, not connected, but has a bridge walkway path from Art of Animation to Pop Century, from Pop Century to Art of Animation. And over at Pop Century, like, they've got some stuff in there, but it's not Disney themed. It has, I mean, it's Disney themed, but it has more like historical types of things. Art of Animation is really focused on art of animation, like the animation of those movies. And so
like
it's just,
the process,
it's cool.
basically.
Yeah. And it's cool to see that stuff. So
It is. But our last and definitely not least resort on this list is...
this is probably my favorite, which is Animal
it
Kingdom Lodge.
That's why I put it last, because
yeah.
I knew you'd like to talk about it.
This is a one-of-a-kind destination which features views of lush savannas, signature dining experiences, and an extensive African art collection. If you don't know, Animal Kingdom Lodge does have two different buildings. They've got Jumbo House, and they've got, I was about to say Satuli Canteen. They've got Kidani Village. So Jumbo House and Kidani Village. We're talking just about Jumbo House. Kidani is DVC. Again, that DVC type resort lobby is very small. So Jumbo House is the place to be. Like, if you're going to check it out and see Animal Kingdom Lodge, you want to go to Jumbo House. Huge lobby. It's very similar to Wilderness Lodge and how it's set up, and kind of that woodworking look, but very
completely
different.
different.
Very different. A lot of like African art in there. I think one of the coolest things is when you walk in and you're kind of up on the second level, and you'll see up above you there's a bridge that like goes across the lobby, and that's like one of our favorite things is to go up there and like you just people watch from up there, really.
Yeah.
I mean, just you stand up there. It's a bridge. There's really nothing fancy about it. It's a bridge. But,
but what lobby has a bridge in it like that
right,
one?
that goes across your lobby, and you can people
You can
watch
look
again.
down.
So
You can see the savannah from this
Right.
lobby.
Right.
And if you're up on that bridge, you can actually look out the giant glass window that they have out onto the savannah. But there is also some balconies right off the lobby that you can walk out onto, which also have rocking chairs. I love rocking chairs at resorts. It's one of my favorite things. But you can sit in the rocking chairs outside and watch out onto the savannah.
yeah, and they've got also have some fireplaces inside too, which
Yes.
I don't remember if those have rocking chairs.
Yes.
Maybe they do. They do.
The one does. The one that it's like round. It's like right in the main lobby, kind of off to the side.
Off to the right hand
There are
side
rocking
before you go
chairs
downstairs.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's also another, like, it's kind of like a little nook, I want to call it. It's like a little small room off to the side. There's fireplaces in there. And I don't think there's rocking chairs in there. I think it's just like couches and like little chairs and stuff. But sometimes they have people like in there playing music, which
Yeah.
is kind of cool.
They do. And I, another thing I like about this too is it's a little bit cultural enriching as well.
It is.
They usually have
They
one
have
or
cultural
two
representatives.
Yeah,
in
they
there.
usually have some cultural representatives almost as soon as you walk in the door, that are not only greeting you, but a lot of times they're talking with kids and interacting with them, and kind of making the experience a little bit more personalized for them as well, which is nice.
And something I actually almost forgot about, but I just remembered it when you said walking in the door. Sometimes when you first walk in the door over to the right-hand side, there's a guy that sits there and he's carving wood. Like he makes, they're basically basically like walking sticks.
Yep.
That he carves the top of, and actually the whole way down, and they're amazing.
Yes. Yep. And then, of course, this also has a store in it as well. It's right off to the right-hand side, and it's a pretty decent size.
It is a pretty decent size.
It's got some specific Animal Kingdom-like stuff, but it's definitely not as... it doesn't have as large of a variety of, like, if you forgot something in the parks, this is not going to be the store to find it.
It's a decent sized store though, and there is there's artwork in there that you can buy, which is pretty cool, and like stuff that you would like find at Animal Kingdom Lodge, you can get in that store, which I think helps make it a little bit more unique.
Yeah.
So this is another lobby that's kind of like Grand Floridian, and like, I mean, I guess it's because it's a deluxe resort.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one that is pretty busy.
Yes, because there's a lot of things that you can do in here. There's not just the main lobby, but, you know, you can get to the Savannah there, and the Savannah is probably one of the best parts. And then they have the bridge up there that we talked about, but they also have a couple restaurants, and there's a lounge in the lobby. So when you start to walk down the stairs like you're going to... Actually, there's multiple stairs in the lobby, so if you walk straight back through the lobby, there's stairs that go down and you can go outside. That goes out to the Savannah. When you first come into the main lobby from the front, if you kind of veer off to the right first thing, there are stairs that go down and you can get to Victoria Falls Lounge, which is basically a bar and lounge area. And I actually I want to go there and hang out sometime because it's not hidden and it's not secret, but I just like the way that it's kind of like off to the side.
It's positioned.
And like not in the main lobby. So it's like down a level because you have to walk down the stairs, but it's also kind of in like a little bit of a corner. Yeah. I just like where it's at. And I like the theming and how it looks. So if you continue down those stairs, you will come to the 2 restaurants in Jumbo House, which there's Boma, which is the buffet. They do breakfast and dinner, I believe. I'm not sure if they do lunch. And then there's Jico, which is their signature restaurant, and it's an amazing dining experience. We've been there multiple times to eat. Great place. Definitely check it out. We've got some dining reviews. But yeah, Jico is there as well. And they have one of the biggest it's one of the biggest African wine collections in... I'm not sure if it's the world or if it's in the United States.
If it's not the world, it's certainly the United States.
Yeah.
But I think probably the best thing about this, which is I would consider it an extension of the lobby, is the Savannah. Just
definitely.
being able to walk out. And I've always found myself, as soon as we go into that lobby, you kind of take it in, and then it's you just naturally venture like that. As soon as you see out those windows, you just want to continue walking and looking to see what you can see.
Like what is out in those windows.
And then whenever you can go downstairs and actually go outside, you just go. You just follow that right down. You go outside and you can see giraffes, zebras, I think.
Yeah.
And
there's some different gazelle and
you can see
antelope.
A couple of different things. And then of course, they've got like a fireplace out there. That's almost all the resorts have a fireplace where you can roast marshmallows. But what also makes this really unique is that, again, they've got some cultural representatives out there who tell stories from Africa, or sometimes you can even do some night vision safari watching from outside on the
and they'll tell you
Savannah
about
area.
the different animals if you ask them, which is really cool.
So overall, like this is like my favorite place. I think right behind it would probably be Wilderness Lodge.
Yeah. Well, and the nice thing about the Savannah is not only is there theming inside the lobby, that theming really does continue outside into the Savannah viewing area because it's not just like a flat little platform that you walk out onto. Like it's actually designed and made to look like you would be walking out onto a savanna, but obviously there's like a fence there between you and the animals. This is kind of backtracking a little bit, but out near where Jico and Boma are at, there's a door that walks out there, and that's actually how you get...
There's a door that walks out there?
Yeah, there's a door that walks out there.
The door walks out
there? Yeah, the door walks. It gets up and walks. No, if you walk out that door, that's actually how you get to their quick service because it's not right in the main lobby. And that's also how you get to the pool. The pool is very close by, which is quite nice, especially if you're staying right there in Jumbo House. So. Yeah,
I don't have anything else to add. This is my favorite place. If I could hang out there almost every day, I probably would.
I know. I was actually, before we filmed this, I sat down at the computer and I was looking up like old video footage to put into this podcast. And I was like, man, I really want to go back to Animal Kingdom Lodge. I mean, I love Wilderness Lodge too. That's probably like my second favorite, but I love Animal Kingdom Lodge too. Yeah. There's just something about it.
For sure. I want to go back to Sanaa, though. That's at Kidani Village.
Yeah,
Get
so
some bread service.
Briefly, at Kidani Village, it's like a mini Jumbo house.
Yep, that's a perfect way to describe it.
It really is.
With less amenities.
Yes, basically they have a very, very small store there that has some DVC merchandise, a little bit of like food and snacks and like shoppy type stuff.
Water, soda, alcohol.
Yeah, and then if you
in the bottle.
Yeah, you can still go out on the savannah a little bit there, and then down the stairs, you can go out to Sanaa.
So, yeah. Cool. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast. If there is a favorite lounge or a lobby, there I did it again. If there's a favorite lobby that you have that you always just end up navigating to or gravitating towards, let us know. Drop a comment down below. And we'd love to hear about it because I'm sure there's probably something that we missed. I know some people were letting us know some things that we missed in the last podcast when we were talking about
But we asked them.
other stuff.
So.
That's right, we did.
We like to know. We like to hear other people's thoughts and opinions because it kind of gets us brainstorming for other ideas that we want to talk about. So.
Yeah, cool. That's it.
That's a weekly breakdown.